Hello dear viewers and welcome to Daily Reset, a program where you reset your life with us and we talk about different topics with amazing guests. But before that, how about this? We'll take a quick break and we'll come back to tell you about today's topic. With that, stay tuned and we'll be back for more. And we're back, dear viewers, and today's guest is Kenya.
Hi.
Our resident right here at our show.
Thanks for having me
We
again.
talked about a lot of things when it has to do with the world of basically, upscaling, transforming furnitures and all that. With everything that we've experienced with you and that you explained, and you even taught us a few tricks and tips and advices, have you ever felt at one point that you want to leave it aside and maybe try something new? Have you ever got bored of it at one point? Even if it was a moment.
Yes, let's say it's with a client.
Okay.
So I've had some come to me wanting me to design and decorate their home, but their style is so far from, I don't want to say my personal taste, but what I know that I can really do good at. And I know that my heart wouldn't be into designing their space because it just is not at all flows with me. So I've had to say no. And it wasn't something personal, but I just know when I do something, I love to do it with passion, and I love to put my whole heart, and I feel that you feel that come back. So I've had to say no sometimes. And you said, do I get bored? Yes, sanding. I get bored of sanding. Sometimes I start a project and I think, I'll have it done in 3 days, and 4 days later I'm still sanding. And I just think, oh God, what did I get myself into? But I always like to try new things. I always tell my family, when this body goes into the dirt and its time is over, I don't want my body to be all perfect. I want God to go oh my gosh, what happened to her? She's, I want to use it to the last minute. So I like to try new things.
All right. I'm sure at times you took a break from, from this world of upscaling and furniture and creating. What would you do in those times? I mean, what other things that keeps you busy if you're out of this world?
My grandkids.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, they're, as any grandmother would tell you, I mean, just to be able to spend the time with them and have with them, it means everything, and you forget about the other things. But then sometimes you do need a little break from that and, going back. But at this point in my life, it's with my grandkids and traveling.
All right.
I love to travel, and it's not just to see the touristy things, but I like to go down, into residential areas and feel the culture and feel how people live and see how many different ways there are to do things. And because I think the more that we travel and the more we learn.
But that's kind of a cheat. You're going back to what you like to do.
I guess it comes back and influences my hobby, yeah.
All right. Do you try to rub a little bit of your magic to your grandchildren about,
Yeah.
how to do this?
So my grandchildren, they have chores. Their mom gives them chores to earn money for, when they want to buy things or whatever. And so their greatest thing that they love to do is to come to my studio, and I give them little chores, either to paint something, which of course they're still quite young. So I'll give them a piece of furniture that, doesn't really matter. So they'll dust or put things together to earn their money. And that's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, is there something they actually made that took your interest or sparked something?
Oh, my grandson, mashallah, he's fabulous with Legos.
Okay.
And building things. I mean, he comes with these helicopters and all these different things, and I don't know really how to put them together. So I'm amazed with what he does, and I could see where, and appreciate architecture and where maybe that will take him one day, because he loves it so much of building things, and it's that goal, and that's what he's always doing chores for, so that he can buy new sets of Legos.
All right. Have you ever built something for them? I'm sure you have.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes.
So how many grandchildren do you have?
3, and 1 is on the way.
Okay. For those 3, each one, what was the special thing you made for each one?
So it's not necessarily been specifically for each one, but in the beginning, I built a beautiful piece for the wall that has a chalkboard in it, and a pegboard for their artwork, and pegs to hang their extra artwork that went for them. the latest thing that I've done is I've built a special bed that's like for 3 children.
Okay.
Because spaces are limited.
All right.
And I had an idea and I couldn't find it in Kuwait, and when I went to the wood shops to ask them to make it, it was over 1,000 KD to do it. But I wanted to make it even different because they love to climb.
Which 100% sure it doesn't actually cost 1,000
No.
KD. I mean, I know the prices of wood, especially natural wood,
Right.
it doesn't cost that much. Labor itself shouldn't cost that much.
Yes, but they are labor intensive.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to build, so they needed beds, they needed, you know, spaces are more limited now, but they also love climbing. And I wanted each of them to have their own personal space as well, because the oldest is a boy and then there's a girl and then a girl. So I built, I need to get a picture and show you. So I built this bed for them, but also with it, it sort of looks like they're cutouts, which they then can use for climbing.
For climbing, okay.
So it also deals with climbing. There's also storage, and each one has like their own shelf, their own separate space. They can't see each other.
Oh, okay.
So, and they love it, and they're always telling their friends about it. So yeah.
So it's kind of like a mini playground of things that they like to do, which is climbing. And of course, the shelves are there to put their artwork, their books, and also their coloring items.
So they can still have their personalized space, and it's multifunctional. Gets the energy out that they can climb and jump all around before their mom puts them to bed.
All right. Now, with that said, we've talked about how basically at times when you don't work in that field, you take your own vacation with your grandchildren and traveling. So what is the most thing that you've been interested when you're traveling, when you're looking for residential areas and looking at how it looks like and the furniture? What usually piques your mind?
Is to think about why do they have this kind of furniture? You know, some are very heavy pieces, some are still very Baroque. So like going to Georgia, the country of Georgia, you know, so something that was pre-Soviet Union, you know, the styles of the buildings that are there, the furniture that they have, but they still have the same furniture 3 and 4 generations on. So it means that it's really good quality. It's very heavy, and just thinking how they incorporate that into their houses. And like previously on one episode, you had talked about, you know, each culture has a different function or flow of the house. So I find it really interesting to see how people utilize their spaces and what's important to them. Because in the United States, typically everybody has a big dining room.
Yeah.
But they only use it, you know, a couple times a year. So could that space not be better used? And we're starting to see a change with that nowadays as well.
Right. Which is the most interesting country you visited and found the most actually interesting pieces?
Oh, that's a hard one. Because
Fine, give me your top 3. I'll make it easy for you.
Top 3 that I found most interesting.
And also interesting pieces.
And interesting pieces of like
Of
furniture
or decor.
Russia.
Okay.
Just because of the history. We went there on, it was the 870th anniversary of Moscow or something. But the architecture, the buildings, when you look at the work that had gone into them and how well they've preserved them, and in the museums that are there as well, it was just fantastic. Another one.
Well, how about this? We'll put a pin on the other one. We'll continue it so you can have your time to think about it. And we'll go for a short break and be back.
Okay.
All right, dear viewers, a short break and we'll be back for more, so stay tuned. And we're back, dear viewers, after that short break and a cliffhanger. And we're going to continue our top 3.
And that's so hard because in every country that I've been able and blessed to visit, there's just so many amazing things that are culturally to that area. One of them was the Maldives.
Okay.
Because we went to like the second farthest out island. And then we got a small boat to go to a local island, where not the island where we were staying in our chalet. And it was amazing. There's no cars on the island. And the host that took us there took us to his family's home, and there's a big open courtyard, and they were chilling in their hammocks outside. And a lot of their decor was made like from the coconut shells, dishes, just how they'd utilized everything, and life was just at such a nice slow pace, and their homes reflected that, which I thought was really, really interesting. When you compare homes today, you know, we're always looking for chargers and USB points and, you know, technology and all of that. But there was, you know, history, and they had pictures of their family, you know, generational of the family. So that was really interesting.
I mean, we are living in a city area. I mean, would you blame us for actually using our phones just to have a grand escape at sometimes?
No, of course not. The other one, which I was interested surprised was Syria.
Okay.
Thank God I got to go there before things started happening. And it was interesting because we were backpacking through northern Syria, and we would be going through these olive orchards, just sort of walking through, and come upon, you know, these 3,000-year-old ruins that were just sitting there, you know, with trees, and nobody, you know, they weren't being protected or anything. And I'm so glad that I was able to see that and experience that.
Now, going back to kids and grandchildren, have you ever dabbled with actually furniture that is for kids in general? Not something that you build, but have you ever found furniture that are kid? Have you ever, let's say, designed rooms for kids?
Yes, I've designed, quite a few rooms for children.
So what's the difference between that and an adult setting? If it's, you know, let's say a bedroom versus bedroom, let's say a playroom versus, let's say, a living room.
So again, number one, obviously, is functionality. You know, we're going to be using it different for the child than for the adult. You know, it depends on the age. Do you need a diaper changing station? Do you need a secure area to keep the child in? Are they starting to walk so that they can't just get out? And also with children's rooms, you need to put together something that is adaptable, that it's going to keep growing with the child. You don't want to have to keep rechanging it every 2 to 3 years as the child grows older and they become sort of more independent and their selves start to show more. So it's putting together a room that's going to grow with a child into their teenage years, university years. So making sure that the big pieces of furniture are really functional and that can grow with them as well.
All right. So is there anything that interests you when you actually deal with furnishing for kids?
Down a cliffhanger, there's different things. I like to build them to be kid-friendly because I believe very much in letting children become independent and letting their personalities come through and letting them choose things for themselves, because that helps for them to develop. And also something that's easy for them to take care of, because I think that that's where they start learning accountability and responsibility. So if it's putting together closets, making sure that you know, to be able to hang them, that the children can hang them themselves. You know, if it's hanging something higher, how do we incorporate like a step ladder to go up to there? So it's doing things that, again, are going to grow with the children, but allow them to be able to also show themselves and develop their personalities.
All right. I can't believe I'm saying this, but would you prefer kids to play with antique toys? Like, now we're calling it antique, but because in the old days they would used to be made of wood. Versus toys that are plastic.
Well, we know that there can be a lot of toxins in the plastic, so I think we need to be very careful with that. Also, they can break off and, you know, become choking houses. Not that wood wouldn't. But I think it's a great thing, too, if we could have wood toys that children can put together. Because with us going so far with AI now and technology, I believe that there's going to be a big demand for skilled labor. Because AI can't, you know, go and cut out unique pieces of wood for toys that the child is going to put together. So I would prefer natural, organic, you know, toys, and even things that, I mean, as kids, you know, we found something to play with. You know, we would use sticks to play ball with or whatever, and I think that is really good for a child to experience that. But of course, there's a, you know, plus to having long-lasting, you know, toys that are made out of good solid plastics.
I usually ask this question for people, and depending on their profession. And now that you're into furnishing and you love furnishing old furnitures, or even if it's new but you want to bring new life into it, but mostly you're into antiques. If you have to choose an era in time, where would it be? Where would you live?
You know what? I think what I love the Victorian era. I love Da Vinci's time. I mean, the paintings are just so surreal, and their skills and their arts, I think, which we don't see that now. So I think would be able to go back sort of in that era. And there were so many wonderful artists. And of course, there's a lot of famous ones, but there's a lot of, not so famous that they're just artwork is amazing. But maybe there are people that have that skill now, but it's not promoted so much.
No.
Like we can't really think of, current artists that are.
We don't see them, basically.
Right.
Yeah, they do exist.
Of course.
It's just that we don't see them. I mean,
it's
even
not appreciated. Sorry, as
yeah.
much. Yeah.
Well, and social media, every time my algorithm changes depending on what I'm searching for. So because I'm into a lot of, I do love art pieces. I do love, I love handiworks and all that. So it keeps on regenerating that type of thing. So I found one person who actually lives in Austria, but I think he's originally from Italy, and he loves carving marble.
Oh.
So he would go to old houses or old, let's say, buildings that were built in a certain century, really old century, and they're mostly built of marble. And you would see like a piece chip off or broken off or drop some break. He would go all the way up and check the size of it, get a marble, and he would do it on the spot. He would draw it, he would stencilize it, then he starts, carving it down to the T, and just fits it as if it was there
from the beginning. Right, it's amazing.
And then I found out that marble, basically that art of basically carving marble, is a dying kind of art.
You're right, and I think a lot of the hand-skilled things are, sort of slowly, they're either not popular or dying out, and that's why I really hope to bring them back in, because it's we don't know how long technology is going to be here. We don't know what's going to happen with it, but to be able to have that skill yourself, nobody can take that from you.
Very true. All right, we'll take another break, and we'll come back for the last segment.
Okay.
All right, a short break, dear viewers, and we'll be back after this. And we're back, dear viewers, after that short break, and let's continue our journey for today. Now, we did talk about the fact about basically carving marble. I mean, it is a dying, let's say, way of doing things.
Skill,
and a skill, because now everything is kind of laser cut or CNC.
Right.
It's nice for the fact that you can have it in bulk and demand a high capacity of it.
Right.
But just looking at it, the art of it, learning the skill, it's basically one thing. But there is still a skill that people still go around and doing, which is pottery. Pottery is still a skill that people do a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's been around for thousands. I mean, from the beginning of,
I don't know, from the Greek times, I think.
Yes.
Yes, pottery was there from the Greek times.
Even before that, I mean.
Even before that.
Yes.
Since maybe the Sumerian times.
Because they had to use it, to store things, water or whatever. Yeah.
I think at one point they found that clay actually dries up and gets hard, so there it is. Let's use that. And now, continuing our talk for today, there is another thing I want to ask you. Since you chose the Victorian time, would you actually, what would you do if you had like a time capsule? You went back there. Would you actually go to people that actually made woodwork and see how they would do things, and how would the process of making, like beautiful furniture?
Absolutely. Because I'm sure the process has changed a lot in some ways, but some ways it's still the same.
Okay.
But back then it was so ornate, the details in it. So working with it, I appreciate when I see a quality piece of, furniture, I appreciate the time and effort that's gone into it. And when you think of the furniture back then, the ornateness of it, what a skill it was, to be able to make that, and the time that they would spend is unbelievable. It's not appreciated enough.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, in those days, they would go down to the smallest details. When they, for example, make a beautiful table, they would actually incorporate a lot of things that was important at that time, whether it's a flower or a flow of a design. And you would have like secret, let's say,
compartments.
And it was interesting. These things, yes, they are dying, but they were interesting at that time. It does take a lot of effort and time to make it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, so can you tell us what is a daily reset that helps a person create something, let's say, meaningful in their life?
You know, that's a deep question, because
Yeah.
I think as humans, one of the hardest things for us to do is to self-evaluate
Okay.
and to really look at ourselves and what is really important to us, what's going to be important to us in a year or 5 years. Because we always keep saying, oh, well, we'll do that when we get older.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll do that next time. And so many times that time has already passed and it's already gone before you can actually get there. So I think it's really looking at yourself. Like personally, every night when I go to bed, I think about, what did I do today that made me happy?
Okay.
Was there anything I would have done different? Would I change anything? Did I lose any? How did I waste my time on something that wasn't necessary? That wasn't a necessity to waste time
Yes.
on. So yeah, I think it's just evaluating and then realizing, okay, what is it that I still want to accomplish? Or what is it still that I want to do? Or what kind of furniture do I want to work with? That sort of thing.
All right. Now, with that said, let's say if a person is used to basically buying things that are ready-made, but they keep on hearing about basically, hey, why don't you get a good furniture, something that has good wood, it's something that it could be a masterpiece for your place. So how can you advise someone that has never dealt with these kind of masterpieces? How can you tell them to basically, to step into this world? How can they actually accept it, or where to look for it, or how to, delve into it?
I guess it would, first of all, depend which room you want. Is it something that you want to use as a focal point? Because when you walk into a room, you should have a focal point, a main focal point, and then you have smaller focal points which keep the eye going around the room.
Yeah.
Thinking about what it is that interests them. So it depends on the room that they're looking for, and it depends, is it something that you would like to have a collection of? Some people have collections of items, right?
Oh yeah, true.
They collect all different kinds of things, ashtrays, teacups, incense burners, that sort of thing. So it just depends what they're looking for or what they would like to collect to be able to put in to that space.
Okay.
And if it's a main focal point, where could we use it in the room? How big would it need to be, or what would draw the eye to it?
Okay. And also at some point people would kind of because right now we're living in a time where everything is minimalistic. When we're talking minimalistic, we're talking about the shape and color.
Right.
So everything is either beige, white, or black. Maximalism isn't there.
It's coming back.
It's coming back.
It's coming back, yeah.
And I'm happy about it. So for someone that just wants to, push away minimalism, not so much, but wants to enter this maximalism kind of, it could be something very,
it, right?
yeah. How can they embrace it? I mean, for me, I was born in 1990 exactly. So I've experienced my maximalism. So I know the balance between this and that, and that's why my house is balanced between a little bit maximize and a little bit of minimalization. But for someone that's born into a time when it's like this and they don't know how to grasp the idea, they're kind of afraid. How can you kind of calm them down?
And especially afraid of color.
Okay.
Because they're used to having this sort of neutral base and palette. How do I incorporate color, and how do I make the space my own? First of all, it's because there's a big difference between clutter and juxtaposition and having things that have meaning to you. So I think it's, first of all, choosing the things that have meaning for you. You want every piece. The last house that I designed and styled, they were an amazing young couple, and they wanted color but weren't sure how to embrace it. And when I first came with the color palette, they were really doubting, but God bless them that they had faith.
Okay.
And we made every single piece in their living area had some meaning to it. So I asked them, anything they had, they had just gotten married, to share with me. So there was a lot of flowers that they had shared during, their courting relationship. And she also likes vintage pieces, antique pieces, silver. and they had we found this beautiful clear glass decanter, and then I took all of the flower petals that they from their dating era, if you whatever you want to call it, and put that into the vase with the little notes. So there's a big meaning, and that's the centerpiece of one of the tablescapes. And then around it were other little gifts that they'd had. They had like the first silverware set that they had gotten and they used, and so everything meant something. And it was really pleasing, because their oldest brother came back to me and he said, I went to their house and every single piece had a story. He said, like, everywhere they were taking me in their home, they're like, and this was this, and there was a story, and he was like, I was so enthralled with it. Yeah. And it's so nice to have a story behind the pieces that are there, because they're meaningful and it's not cluttered. But things were put together in a juxtaposition that somehow looked good and went well together.
And that's what I tell most of people. I mean, a home has to be a home. It has to be a place where memory is being made, kept, and reserved. But when a house kind of looks like a storage room, and you're just making it just like, okay, I have a cabinet, okay, but it doesn't have a story. I have a drawer, but it doesn't have anything on it. I have a vase, but it's just there to hold the flower.
Right.
So there's no life into it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So anyways, thank you so much for being here today. I hope
thank you for having me. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome anytime. And thank you so much, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. And until next time.
Thank you.
All right, dear viewers, this was Daily Reset, your show where we actually take you into a new day where you reset your life and find new ways. And until next time, see you soon.